intro?
Yeah.
To the show?
Yeah.
What show? The show? The Sgt. Pepper show?
Yeah.
Okay. Whether you're sitting down or standing up or doing the dishes, it's time for the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Good Time podcast, the only podcast in the world today and tomorrow that signifies, biographies, identifies,
And Sigmund Freudifies.
all the figures on the cover
1967 cover
of the Beatles.
Sgt.
Pepper's
Lonely Club
Hearts
Band.
Today's episode, we're going to talk about the impeccable Tony Curtis
Tony Curtis.
and Wallace Berman. Tell me about Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis is a fun one because Some Like It Hot is one of my favorite comedy movies that I've only ever seen once, but remember really well. Born in June of 1925. He was the oldest of three boys, and he had a pretty traumatic childhood. If you want to dig deeper, I'm going to keep this light. But we'll say he was a bit of a delinquent in his teen years. He was in a neighborhood gang by the age of 11. So I guess you could say that Tony Curtis was like a real-life Bowery boy.
Bowery Boy.
He was doing Bowery Boy shenanigans. Most of it was truancy and stealing from like dime stores, which is like the exact plot of almost every Bowery Boys movie. I bet he and Hunt's Hall probably had a lot to talk about. But yeah, he learned how to act by pretending to be Italian while in Italian neighborhoods. He was basically also the inspiration for Andrew Dice Clay, a Jewish guy pretending to be Italian. He joined the Navy in 1944, and he served aboard the submarine USS Dragonet, which is a sweet name for an ocean submersible.
Dragonet.
His inspiration for joining the Navy was Cary Grant, who is one of my top favorite actors.
How does that happen?
It was like I forget what the name of the movie was, but it was like a movie that Cary Grant did. That was like a war movie, Japanese. Yeah, and he saw that and he was like, "Man, I want to go to World War II," and then he did it, and then it ended up paying for his acting school because he also used the GI Bill. Some Like It Hot, one of my favorites, also probably one of his most famous movies. Yeah, it also has Jack Lemmon. Marilyn Monroe's in it. Supposedly she had a really hard... Marilyn Monroe. Mm-hmm. She was some Playboy playmate back... She was like the first Playboy playmate.
Mm-hmm.
I think one time some wind blew up her dress and someone saw that and they were like, wow, she's got a very sexy nudity to her. And then she got a phone call the next day from Hugh Hefner, and he was like, I heard that some wind blew up your dress, and it looked real good. Do you want to be on the cover of this magazine that I'm making? And she was like, I don't know if I have enough clothes to wear. And he was like, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to wear anything. And then and then after that, Jack Lemmon saw that, and he was like, yo, we need her in this movie. And Tony Curtis was like, you betcha.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, but she couldn't act. If you've ever seen Marilyn Monroe act in a movie, it's not very good. It's like all she's doing is just her very, very best to stay sexy. It's like she's worried that she might not be sexy for a second, and she's working and she is working hard.
Focused.
Yeah, she's super focused. So there's no time for her to like actually do like any emotional work, because it's like you turn your back for 1 second, you know? It's like World War II. You turn your back for 1 second, that's it. You got a bullet in the head. But yeah.
Perfect analogy.
Tony Curtis loved Cary Grant. He based his whole character in Some Like It Hot on Cary Grant. He admitted to it.
Well, very influential to him, no doubt.
Yeah, he loved Cary Grant. Destination Tokyo, that was the name of the movie that inspired him. And they ended up both working together in 1959 in the movie Operation Petticoat. If they had promoted the movie Operation Petticoat under their real names, like if they went on a promotional tour and used their real names on those posters, it would have said Operation Petticoat starring Archibald Leach and Bernard Schwartz. I'll let you decide who's who. Tony Curtis made over 100 films in his lifetime, all of which I'm going to list in a moment. But if that wasn't enough, he also married at one point in his life Janet Leigh, the first Scream Queen.
Janet Leigh, Psycho.
Yeah, the one who gets stabbed all those times right in the beginning of the movie.
Great acting by the shower curtain in that scene.
Yes, right? That shower curtain had gone through so much.
Focused.
Oh my God. I'm sure Alfred Hitchcock had to pull Janet aside so many times, tell her to be nicer to that curtain, because she was messing that curtain up. So then, yeah, they had a kid together, and that child was Jamie Lee Curtis, the other top screen queen. So Tony Curtis is also king of the Scream Queens, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, so she's his
He
daughter.
married a Scream Queen and then had a Scream Queen daughter.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. He lived to be 85 years old.
We got Wallace Berman.
Okay.
Wallace Berman, American. Again, another American on this roast. A lot of Americans this time for a British band. Born in 1926, he made collages, which not unto like they want this cover to be.
Right, I was just going to say.
I think it's there to support that theory. Like, oh, and he probably did it, or he helped. But he is sort of the first guy to make like a zine in a way. He would have this zine that was called Semina, which is like seminar without an R, and it would feature poetry and short stories, essays, pictures.
Wait, I thought you had to be a lady to make a zine.
Is that a requisite?
I thought zines were a thing that ladies made. That they would cut out of magazine pictures and then take selfies with their friends and write diary entries, and then they would photocopy them. I thought that's what zines were.
I always thought zines were like small magazines.
Anyone
like
can
little
make one?
periodicals. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Like a chapbook or something.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with a Chat GPT book.
So he was the first person to make zines.
In essence, I mean, that's kind of what I felt these looked like. Nowhere says that, but I'm saying it.
Debbie Harry was the first rapper to get in the Billboard 100 from Blondie. So I believe it.
Got it. Yeah, so like from the 1950s and 60s, around, like the time of Dion and such. Some people that wrote in it were like Bukowski and Burroughs. Burroughs, who we'll be talking about. Did we talk about him already?
It's all blur.
Yeah, I know. Remember that other episode? I don't.
No.
No. What's it say here? Oh yeah. For whether it's interesting or not, I started as working in a furniture factory. That's where he liked to start putting things together. That's where he liked doing his art.
Kind of like a Jack White type.
Yeah, I get the taxidermy sort of feel, but I mention it only because if he was building furniture, he could have also built that crate, the time traveling crate.
Did we talk about that already?
I think we did. If not, Beatles album Yesterday and Today has Paul sitting in a time traveling.
Well, it looks like a time machine
Yeah.
of some. Maybe not a machine. Maybe
no
more
wires.
of like a. Maybe more of like a time sculpture, right? Like what are those things? Those big circular things
Circles.
that MacGyver used to go through? Stargates.
Portals. Stargates.
Yeah, Stargates. Yeah. So it could be something like that.
Yeah, him with a little help from
His friends.
including but not limited to Aleister Crowley and Poe and Jung. Going into the subconscious.
For sure.
Yeah.
You need all those dudes, especially Crowley, because Crowley's the one. He's like the electrician, right? You got all these evil philosophers, and they're doing evil philosophy, but Crowley's the electrician. He's the one that knows how to wire it all together.
You've got the good as well, though. You got like the Hindu deities, they're not deities, but the gurus,
They're all evil too. This is a Protestant album.
What is evil anyway? What's good? What's bad? Things just are.
Yeah, I guess that's what George Harrison would have you believe.
George Harrison. Didn't work. No, I thought if I said his name 3 times, he might show up. Yeah,
nah.
no. We'll try it again some other time. He always said he was going to die when he was 50, and he did. On his 50th birthday, actually. He was actually killed by a drunk driver, which is very sad. Do not drink and drive unless you think you can do it.
Would you think that he did it on purpose as some sort of... Some people don't like to be wrong.
I mean, if he was involved in some sort of conspiracy, maybe he only had 50 years to be here.
Maybe he
like he
knew
signed something, and like he knew that was only going to have 50 years, and it was on the money.
Like to balance the equilibrium of the universe or something?
Well, that was his reward for being a part of this big...
So he sacrificed himself to some sort of evil.
Yeah.
Do you think they threw him in the box?
Afterwards.
How old was he when the picture was taken?
On the day, 41. Well, he was 41 on the day that they all got together, so less than 41.
But that leaves 9 years in the negative space.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Are you tired of saying the number 9 over and over again? Well, stop it. Buy the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band number 9 single today and just hit play. You can stop your incantations and let your stereo do it for you.
Tony Curtis enters the bedroom, looking curious. Hey, what's all the commotion in the other room? I heard you entertaining none other than Edgar Allan Poe himself.
Oh, Tony, darling, you know me. I can't resist bringing some lively company into my world. Poe and I are having a little tete-a-tete, filled with poetry and intrigue.
Poetry and intrigue sounds fascinating. Mind if I join in for the fun?
Well, Tony, I suppose an extra dash of charm and charisma wouldn't hurt. Come, let's make our way to the parlor and see what wonders Poe has in store for us. They walk to the parlor, where Edgar Allan Poe sits, brooding yet intrigued. Mr. Poe, what a pleasure to have you in my humble abode. Allow me to introduce Tony Curtis, a dear friend and a man of many talents.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Curtis. I see you have a lively energy about you. The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Poe. Your works have captivated the world, and it's an honor to be in your presence.
Gentlemen, let's have a comfortable and intrigue in some poetic revelry. Tony, why don't you start us off with a verse? I know you have a way with words.
Well, May, since you insist, let me just recite a line from one of my favorite poems. In night, the diamond of the soul shines bright, unveiling secrets that lie beyond the light.
Bravo, Tony. Your words dance like the stars in the sky. Now, Mr. Poe, it's your turn. Give us a taste of your dark enchantment.
Quoth the raven, nevermore, he said, a whisper from the shadows of the dead.
Oh, how beautifully macabre, Mr. Poe. Your words send shivers down my spine. Now, let me add my own touch of Mae West charm to the mix. I see the moon, it's shining bright, but honey, I'm the only one who steals the night.
May, you always know how to add a touch of sass to any poetic gathering.
Winks. Well, Tony, darling, life is too short to be anything but fabulous. Let's keep the poetic magic flowing.
They continue reciting verses, creating a blend of laughter, darkness, and irresistible charm as the night unfolds. Who do you think would be Tony Curtis today?
Tony Curtis today. I think Don Draper.
Who? The John Hamm.
John Hamm, yes.
John
Excuse me.
Hamm. That's good. Who else would there be? Tony Curtis was handsome, but he was Jewish. Not but he was Jewish. I meant he was handsome and Jewish, but he looked like he was Italian. That was the whole thing, is he was kind of doing this Rat Packy thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he'd be one of Sinatra's boys, which he could have been. Sammy Davis Jr. was Jewish.
Adam Sandler? Not as handsome, but
Not handsome
he's got
enough. Andrew Dice Clay. Very handsome. Love the ladies. Or pretends to. But he's a comedian, though. Why can't we just find a scumbag that's not a comedian? Who's a scumbag that's not a comedian?
An actor, though?
Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Mark Wahlberg was in a gang.
Uh-huh. He was a tough kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a troublemaker.
Marky Mark.
Uh-huh. Turned his life around, started doing buddy comedies.
There it is.
With Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Imagine Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg and Some Like It Hot.
Anyway.
This has been the Math Corner, the blackboard. Which, there's no blackboard in here, but there is a lovely black soundproofing thing.
Yeah, that enhances
Here.
the serial killery vibe.
Have we said where we were?
Body horror. Yeah, Golden Ox Studios.
Golden Ox Studio here in
fantastic. Every time
Tremont,
I come here, I
technically.
feel great.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm about to get murdered, but I know I'm not going to. It's like being on a roller coaster. You know you're safe, even though you don't feel safe.
There's mystique and intrigue. It's kind of like being in the black lodge in Twin Peaks too. I kind of get that feel.
Oh yeah, there's little people all over the place.
Yeah, and like statues missing limbs.
I feel bad that we're ignoring them.
Yeah, they're ignoring us, really.
Yeah.
They're there for a long time.
Oh, thank you for the coffee. No, scuttle away, scuttle away.
This poster, though, I'm seeing of Sergeant Pepper, but instead of his face, it's just a QR code
That would be
that goes to our link tree.
awesome. Can we
Sergeant
do
Pepper
that?
wants you. Oh, we can do that. We did do that. Did we do that yet?
I don't know. Did we? Tune in next week and find out. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Is that the end?
I don't know.
Did we do it all? Did we? We replaced them? Yeah. Next week, we're going to be talking about a comic, Tommy Handley.
Tommy Handley.
Tommy Handley. And, you guessed it, Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.